Hello and welcome to today's episode of NYSC Half Hour. I am Nkem Okwogu. On today's episode, we have a special guest, the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Mr. Sunday Dare. The Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development is the supervising ministry of the National Youth Service Corps. Under the stewardship of Mr. Sunday Dare, the scheme continues to enjoy immense support from the ministry. Come with us as we have a conversation with the Honorable Minister as he shares with us the impact of the National Youth Service Corps in nation building and development. We will be right back.
Almost 29 years ago, I was also a youth corper. The memories of being a youth corper still linger, and I still have most of my friends. But also I remember that the orientation camp was a place in which I made new friends. I had learned new levels of discipline, and that's why today the orientation itself remains at the core of the scheme.
Mr. Dare lauds the orientation course as a first point of call that enables corps members internalize the ideals and objective of the scheme and acquaint themselves with the political, cultural, and socio-economic settings of their host communities.
The aspect that has really helped me has to do with the CD, the community development. My CD was in Karishi, where I had to learn the art of engaging with the community, the traditional rulers. We had to work together to identify what was really important to them, what they needed government to do, because even as corpers, we had that opportunity, if you wanted to advocate for these communities. And I became an advocate for that, for the Karachi community, because they needed water supply, they needed good roads. But also we had to find a project that we could do as youth corpers that could be impactful, which still happens up to today. So when you develop the community in terms of education, in terms of water supply, the children that come up from that community, it's easy for them to integrate and grow when they come into the larger Nigerian society. And I think that's the way we should say it. It's like a value chain. You give value to the communities, and that helps. And when you look at the political arena too, all politics is local. You can't really have value as a politician if you have no local resonance. And I think for me, that was an abiding lesson that I learned that I've carried on, even as an administrator, as a journalist, as a writer, in whatever position I've found. It was important to just look at that philosophy. In Cuba here, where I had my orientation camp, a number of us that came from the Ahmadu Bello University Zaria had participated in what we call the OAU Mock Summit. And what we did was to mock what happens exactly at the OAU Summit. Just like we say at the United Nations in September every year, where the leaders go, they expound different ideological, some are combative, some are, brilliant when they speak. So I was Gaddafi. The African nationalism and all of that. I was the one that put together a number of our corpers, about 21, representing different countries and presidents. You had to study the mannerisms, the ideas of that particular president. And we put that show on, and it was one of the best things that happened in the camp. I'm starting from there because one of the high points, it was a mock summit, but then we dug deep. We spoke to the African idea of the African nationalism, United States of Africa. Some spoke about policy, about hunger, economic development, and all of that. So it was a high point. Because soon after we did that, and people knew I was the one, the brain behind it, I became I had a called celebrity in camp to say, well, this is brilliant. Apart from making new friends, we did so many things. There were challenges. People had to rotate cooking in the kitchen. So many things ordinarily. You had to just drop your ego and the chip you had, oh, you're a graduate, all those campus things. It was a leveler. You wore pants like recruits in the police college. everybody just settled down. It was a period of unwinding down after the 4, 5 years, 6 years on the campus of academic pressure. But for me, it was a period for kind of evaluating where I wanted to go after that. I know the youth service will come, but then what line do I really want to pursue in terms of professional career? When General Yakubu Gowon came up with that idea, beyond the 3 R's that he came up with after the Civil War, reconstruction, reconciliation, and rehabilitation, brilliant idea that saw this country just come together again and rise up from the rubbles of civil war. I think one of the most brilliant initiatives and programs that the Gowon administration came up with, which still survives till today, is the Nysc. You see somebody who has never left Lagos before being flung to Katsina to go and serve, and you're forced to learn the language, you know, the culture, the tradition. It makes you, it embodies your Nigerianness, and I think that I benefited. I'm happy that thousands of our youth are benefiting right now. We still benefit, and I'm sure so many people will have different stories about their experience for a year while in camp.
Despite the constraints of the pandemic, the ministry, in collaboration with the Nysc and other relevant stakeholders, worked out a strategy to reopen orientation camps safely.
You recall that on November 10th last year, the orientation camps were reopened. They were closed earlier because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And before the announcement to reopen the camps, we had a series of meetings, a series of negotiations. The Nysc had to produce a COVID-19 protocol document. The Nysc team had to meet with the technical team of the PTF, the Task Force on COVID-19, in order to agree on the protocols that would be necessary to keep our youth safe, those that will go to the camps, but also to work out a way in which we're going to have data collection for proper data management. And it was a combination of those meetings, those agreements, that led to the decision to reopen the camps. And I was extremely glad that the camps were to be opened then. So far, you've seen that it's been done successfully. I've been to 1 or 2 camps. I've seen the protocol in place. We've reduced the number of corpers from 3,000 to 800 or 850. As we speak, about 24,000 new corpers are in the orientation camps. We've seen the level of data management in every orientation camp, both from prospective corpers and the ones that are already serving corpers on the camp. And I think so far it's gone the way we want to see it, because the data management thing is going well, and the COVID-19 protocols are being observed.
The minister also speaks about the various youth empowerment programs provided by the federal government through the ministry.
Nigerian Youth Investment Fund, we call it NYIF, approved in July by the President and Council. Of course, you know, it's a 75 billion naira fund. It's meant for 3 years, 25 billion per year. And the driving force and conviction behind that NYIF is that of President Muhammadu Buhari and the entirety of government, that it is time for this country to increase its direct investment in the Nigerian youth. From the point that in investing in their ideas, innovative ideas, their talents and skills at this point, it gives them the opportunity to be self-starters, to become entrepreneurs, employers of labor, and ultimately contribute to national economic development. It also confirms the commitment of Mr. President to plug into the paradigm shift when it comes to youth development. And that shift is moving from just mere youth empowerment to really investing in them to make them creators of wealth. No country has been able to solve its youth unemployment problem without, in a deliberate way, making of their youth entrepreneurs, turning their youth into entrepreneurs, but also turning them into wealth creators. 2 important elements in the NYIF. One is that we want to make sure that we create a new generation of youth entrepreneurs. Government no longer has the jobs. So when you invest in them, you give them the necessary capital, you give them an opportunity to become entrepreneurs. And in that way, they can also become wealth creators, employers of labor, and then you can self-start them. But also there's a multiplier effect in the sense that if you're engaged in a business that can also employ other youths through the value chain. So through the NYIF, we feel Nigeria is on the right path of making sure that we value, but we also invest. This country is ready to take the risk necessary for the sake of our youth. And we have started already. It's a process that is ongoing. We hope to expand the fund for that NYIF.
He further encourages young people across the country to respond to the call to national service with an open mind and strive to make an impact wherever they may find themselves.
It's important that I reinstate the fact that we must no longer see our youth within the concept of leaders of tomorrow. We must change that assertion. We must see our youth within the context of leaders today who will grow up into greater leadership roles. Because unless we give them the tutelage of leadership from now, when tomorrow comes, they will not be prepared for leadership. Having said that, I recognize to a very large extent the resourcefulness of our youth in this country. I recognize their talent, their innovative minds. We have seen how they have excelled from the creative and entertainment industry to sports, to ICT, in various areas. 18, 17 months I've been minister. The Nysc, as one of the parastatals under this ministry, has engaged my attention, and to the extent that I found the DG, General Shuaibu, to be a very hands-on person. He has been able to drive the Nysc at a pace never seen before. We have seen the SAI program really impact and expand. He has also worked on the model that we like, the public-private partnership model, partnering with GTB and other private sector to be able to support the Nysc. And to a large extent, I have seen the Nysc under the current DG regain a visibility and a resonance that was almost fading away before. We have most of our youth corpus, the level of discipline has increased, but also we have seen now clearly that attention is being paid, that if you finish your first degree, having an NYSC certificate, and actually serving matters. You must serve to earn it. And I think that level of discipline, that level of conformity, has created a new culture and brought respect to the NYSC scheme. I want to put that on record. But I also know that that wouldn't have been possible without the entire NYSC directorate, the zonal coordinators and people working in the headquarters. I think it's important that they continue to give the support that is needed, not just to the DG, but to the federal government.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, for all the support you have given to the NYSC and for having a strong belief in the ability of our core members and the Nigerian youth at large. We say kudos to you. Our next story is an ex-core member, Olajiri Olawale Sunday. He is a graduate of electronics engineering from Ladoke Akintola University of Technology, Oyo State. He was posted to Edo State back in 2013 for his service year. While in camp, he keyed into the NYSC SAID ICT training, where he was introduced to satellite installation, intercom networking, and CCTV installation. Today, he is the CEO of All Amazing Grace Installation, a satellite installation and maintenance establishment. He has 4 branches across Edo State and is looking to expand to other states of the Federation. Let us meet Olawale.
I'm Mr. Olajiri Olawale Sunday. I graduated from Ladoke Akintola University of Technology, Lautech, Ogbomoso, Oyo State. I had my first degree in Electronics and Electrical Engineering Department, 4.09, which is second class upper. I graduated 2012. During the period of my service in Edo, when I was posted to Edo, there was this program, SAID, Skill Acquisition and Entrepreneurship Program, that was organized by Nysc body. Each and every one of core members is expected to participate on any skills of your choice. So I keyed into ICT during the service year, where we were introduced to satellite installations, intercom networking, and CCTV installations. I was able to see far that most of the people around me, they need all these services. And if I can at least sell myself, have my own personal office, I should be able to go a long way. Like 6 months during my service year, I had an office in Benin, in town. Then I touched it up, I locked it. Then when I completed my service year, I traveled home. It was on Thursday. I had my certificate. Then on Friday, I traveled back home to only tell my parents that I'm no more a copper. Then I need to enter into live and Ozu. Then I came back to Benin and I started. Then to God be the glory. Since then till now, I have been able to have like 4 branches in Benin. I'm into satellite installations, CCTV networking, and intercom networking, installation and repair of DSTV, MyTV, multi-TV, Nicomsats, and all form of free-to-air satellite system. I do a repair and I sell the accessories. I'm into sales and repair of any form of satellite that you can ever think of. And I render a consultancy service to a bank and some other corporate bodies. By the special grace of God and with the help of the Nysc officials that God has sent to me, like a person of my local government inspector when I served Mr. Nosa Ogbogodo, he was a God sent. I don't have any relatives in Benin, in Edo State. I don't have father, I don't have mother. But he is my father, he is my mother, he is everything. So with his mentorship, I've been able to have 4 branches, which my headquarter, my head office is situated at number 157 Uselu Lagos Road, a former NEPA building, Uselu Market. And the name of the company is All Amazing Grace Communication. My wife is from Oyo State, Ogbomoso to be precise, and she's a graduate of University of Ibadan. I brought her to Benin, and I legally married to her. Benin has been so lovely to me. It has been a blessing to me, simply because all I have achieved today, I got everything from this state, Benin, from this town, Benin City. So Benin has been a blessing, a source of blessing to me, and God has really helped me. A couple of years back, I was invited by the SAID department of Edo Nysc, and from then till now, I've trained nothing less than 5,000 core members in Edo State. Nysc Edo State is a blessing to this generation. They might not know. I have most of these graduates that I have trained, they have established within this locality. So I have boys in Lagos, I have Edo boys, Edo coppers that I have trained who have established in Enugu, I have in Akure, I have in Ibadan, I have in Osogbo. So this particular scheme have blessed lives even beyond what Nysc officials can say. The effect of Said in Edo State can never be overemphasized. It has affected many lives positively. And many Nigerian graduates, as at today, I mean those that I have trained, are making a meaningful living because of this scheme. I have boys that have rounded or they finished their Nysc for more than 1 year. They are still with me. None of us is working with the certificates we have gathered. I have my BTech in electrical. I had my MSc in University of Benin here, electrical department. I have 4 professional certificates. But among all these certificates, none of them is putting food on my table today.
My name is Nandom Joseph Ayuba. I hail from Plateau State. I'm a core member from being posted to Edo, Benin. I am one of the beneficiaries of Amazing Grace because it really helped me a lot in terms of skill acquisition. I can remember when I came to this town, I don't have anything to do as a skill acquisition because I studied political science. But I found myself here. I'm really happy because at the end of the course of this service, I should be able to install CCTV, to install DSTV and so many things.
When I heard about the opportunity to work in Amazing Grace, I was very happy because now dealing with communication, I did a lot of communication in school. And now working towards it, working with coaxial cables and a lot of things, knowing how they transfer information from one point to the other end and getting a practical knowledge of what you did is actually an added advantage for you. So those are one of the reasons why I am very happy I am in Amazing Grace. Amazing Grace is also making that possible because now he was able to do it. It worked for him. Definitely it can work for me also. And the name is Amazing Grace. The grace is everywhere. So now I can just decide to set up myself, do some stuff, do well for myself, also empower people, which is one of the goals and one of the things I believe I can live for, empower people also. So Amazing Grace is actually one of the best opportunities for me presently as it makes my dream closer and helps me also plan for the future.
Amazing Grace is like a father to every one of us. He normally take care of us, and the moment I try to work with Amazing Grace, I see this thing is beyond what we're looking for any color job again.
My name is Folaji Make, and head core member. I served with Amazing Grace. Actually, I'm still here based on the fact that I'm actually serving my boss, and I was retained in good salary. Next year, I'm going to establish myself fully on this business world, this satellite world.
So Nysc has impacted lives, and may God bless Nysc Edo State and bless Nysc in general.
Oh, amazing. It's always gratifying to see industry pay off. Is your service year coming up? And are you planning on having a good time in camp? While you think of that, and while that is a part of the overall orientation course experience, remember that you could also acquire a life skill during the orientation course through the In-Camp Sayid program that could create generational wealth for you. So don't take it for granted. Key in totally and harness the skills that would make you self-reliant and a wealth creator. We would be right back.
The National Youth Service Corps, a call to service, a call to nationhood, Nigerian youths, stand up and embrace this clarion call. Wherever you are posted, accept it, embrace it. Do not harbor any fears, because your security is assured. Develop common ties with members of your host communities. You would discover that North, South, East and West, we are all brothers with common ties and a shared destiny as one nation. Do not lobby for preferential posting, for it is unpatriotic and illegal. Report at once to the orientation camp as soon as you are posted and contribute your quota to the overall development of our great nation, Nigeria. The National Youth Service Corps, building future leaders.
Welcome back. And that's where we draw the curtain on today's episode of NYSC Half Hour. We would love to use this medium to encourage our Nigerian youth to take full advantage of the various youth empowerment programs available through the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development. Remember, you could always write to us on the online handles displayed on your screens right now, and I promise you, on my honor, we would write back. Always remember that the safety of core members in our communities is the responsibility of you and I. Until I see you next time, I am Nkem Okwogu. Stay safe.